Hey, Jorma, how you doing today?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm excellent. Thank you so much for joining me.
My pleasure, believe me.
Well, let's talk a bit about the new book you got here, Been So Long, My Life in Music. I mean, obviously you've led quite the life, so tell the listeners a bit about the new book.
Well, at some point my wife went, you've gotten to a point in your life where you really ought to think about telling your story. And I sort of like waffled around with it, and then she got me a book deal, and then I started writing. It took me about a year and a half to write the book. I really enjoyed the process, and because I have a pretty good memory for many details, not all of them obviously, but I was able to call up a bunch of stuff, and I had a really good time telling the story.
Well, and of course, especially in your early years with Jefferson Airplane, I mean, that was such an important part of the country's history,
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's great for the readers to kind of get a firsthand look from someone, who had a big hand in that scene.
Yeah, I mean, again, I was so fortunate to be the right age and the right time to be part of all that stuff.
Well, at the time, I mean, when you look at the stuff you guys were doing, playing Woodstock and Monterey and the Isle of Wight, at the time, were you guys just playing shows, business as usual, or did you kind of get a sense that we'd be still talking about these shows, 50 years later?
I don't think that I ever got a sense we'd still be talking about these shows, but, I realized at the time, because we didn't always get great gigs. I mean, those are great gigs you're talking about. I realized how fortunate we were to have been able to, for our star to be able to rise that so quickly for us to be part of all that stuff.
Well, and I know you go into detail in the book about a lot of the good times and a lot of the not so good times. And was it hard to touch on some of the more personal stuff that you've gone through?
Well, not really. I always felt that, as I've grown older, I felt that it's been important to be able to be honest about things that happened in my life, to myself more than anything else. And as I'm fond of saying, in a normal world, I'd be a great-grandfather, but I've got a 12-year-old and a 21-year-old, And I always tell them, look, you'll find your life. You don't need to do anything I've done. However, if you can relate honestly to people, it's a good thing. And so for me to be able to do that was an important part of the process. And obviously, it's not something I could do when I was younger, because I always joke about stuff. I used to lie to my parents about everything, whether I needed to or not, just so I wouldn't get out of the habit, So, that's just how it was when I was a kid in the 50s. But that's not the case. And so I really didn't find it that difficult to do that, to be honest with you, which surprised me on some level.
Well, again, the book, Been So Long, My Life in Music, is out now. And, one of the great things, the book comes with a CD. You don't often get a bonus like that with books like these.
Hey, we're there for you. Yeah, the songs in the CD sort of, and I say sort of because that's really important, sort of follow the storyline of the book in a way. I don't want to make it too important like that. And they're all live cuts, and I like that.
Well, and again, I noticed you got Grace Slick writing the foreword, and obviously Jefferson Airplane went through a lot of different changes.
Sure,
and
absolutely.
You guys seem like you're all kind of on good terms now, and you kind of able to look back, and everything's good.
Yeah, absolutely. I had dinner with Grace last week when I was in L.A. We've got this guy named Jeff Jampol that has a legacy management company. Most of the people that he manages are dead, like Janis, The Doors, Jimmy, stuff like that. But he's been handling he's bringing the Airplane catalog and with international streaming and stuff up to date. And so as a result, Grace and Jack and I are together all the time anyway. But Grace and Marty and some of the kids of some of the band members that have passed away, all of a sudden we have business interests in common, and so we get together and talk about this stuff, and it's kind of cool.
Well, and of course, you've had numerous solo albums over the years, and of course, Hot Tuna still around today, as a matter of fact.
Absolutely, yeah. We just finished a month-long tour electric, and starting next week we're doing an acoustic tour.
And I saw you even got a Minnesota date here coming up in December. That's great.
We do. I'm very fond of Minnesota for a lot of reasons. My dad was from Ironwood, Michigan, which, of course, is not that far from Superior, Wisconsin, or Duluth. And about 20 years ago, I was able to do the Boundary Waters up in Ely, and that was a good time.
Well, Jorma, I wanted to ask you a bit, besides the music, you also have the Fur Peace Ranch, the guitar camp. Can you tell the listeners a bit about that?
Sure. I lucked into about 126 acres of land in southeast Ohio in the Appalachian foothills. Beautiful country. And the Fur Peace Ranch, we call it that because it's a fur piece from anywhere, is a music school, and our weekends are from Friday morning to Monday morning. We have great instructors. We have a 250-seat theater where we do shows on Saturday nights. We have a little restaurant. We got a museum. We have all kinds of stuff. And my thing as a teacher, and with the teachers we get to teach for us, is to make the process of learning to play an instrument or writing songs unintimidating. Obviously, some people are better at it than others, but that's not what we're about. And it's a really good time.
Yeah, it's almost kind of like going full circle and getting back to, the ideals of, back when you were first with Jefferson Airplane in a way.
Absolutely. And interestingly enough, I taught music my last 2 years of college in Santa Clara. And the first year I was with the airplane, I continued to teach. I made more money teaching than I did with a band. Of course, that changed after a while.
Well, Jorma, I know, again, the book, Been So Long, My Life in Music, just out now, and you guys have the tour coming up, as we mentioned. Anything else maybe in the works or something else we should look out for?
Well, we were with Hot Tuna was with Red House Records, which was just recently bought by Compass, and we still owe them an album. I'm working on some writing, and hopefully within next year we'll have another Hot Tuna record.
Awesome. Yeah, it's amazing, the longevity of Hot Tuna. I mean, you guys in some form or fashion have had it going on for a long time.
For a long time, yeah. I mean, you can't, it's a blessing, it really is.
Awesome. Again, I'm a big fan and looking forward to seeing you coming up in December. Thank you so much for being with me today.
Thanks. Stop by and say hello.
All right, I'll try to do that. Thank you.
Cool, man. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.